Hello folks, welcome back to my channel. And today I have the honor to interview with Miles, the chef at Ensue in Shenzhen.
Hello guys.
Yeah. So I just know a little bit about you, and I just had dinner here yesterday. It was quite impressive and very unique. And personally, I felt there is a lot of personalities behind those dishes. And I also read your article, about your work experience and the concept about food. So I want to do basic conversation with you.
Okay.
To figure out what's happening. Yeah.
What's going on in my mind?
Yeah.
So yeah, what's your question then?
Yeah. So I guess my first one that I've been having, when the dishes were coming to me, right? It's about the ingredient. And in the article I read, you have this concept of Californian Cantonese, if I put them all together.
Yeah.
Because you didn't like farm to table.
Like I don't like the term.
The term,
Yeah.
since it's a marketing gimmick.
Yeah. I mean, every restaurant's farm to table, even McDonald's.
That's true.
Right? So I always say that. I think it's farm to table is how every restaurant, operates. I think it's more a deeper philosophy on just connecting where your food is coming from so that you kind of understand a little bit more who's growing the food, how it's grown, and choosing, making choices that, I think are better for the planet, better for flavor, better socially, so that the whole supply chain and where your food is coming from is a thoughtful process. And so I think when people say farm to table, usually in America it's like, the farmers that are producing the food. That's where the term comes from.
Yeah.
And here it's a little bit more complicated in China. So.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's not. It was actually kind of because I most of my experiences in farm to table, but it was to quite an extremes. In Canada I worked at one restaurant that we lived on the farm. We grew our own food.
Which one was that?
Eigenson Farm.
Eigenson Farm.
Yeah, it's above Toronto, about 2 hours north in Toronto, in the countryside, and it was a chef that doesn't really care so much about accolades, but at one time he was number 9th in the San Pellegrino, world's best restaurants, right around the time Al Bulli and stuff was, popular. And so I think it was, he's been doing the same thing, before it was a fad and after it became less popular. He's always been doing this, farm to table, this connection to the land.
I just realized we have those kind of restaurants here.
Exactly.
They're called 农家乐.
Really?
You go to the countryside,
Yeah.
and they have villagers set up a local restaurant, and of course the chicken is raised right in the backyard.
Right. Yeah. And I think, that's normal. That's how it
Yeah.
used to be, right?
Yeah.
And then the modern media kind of we were away from that.
I don't think it's the fault of modern media. It's a fault of modern industry, right? The food, especially in North America, is so industrialized, and a lot of stuff is processed and heavily, modified.
Yeah. I mean, also people, live in cities now.
Yeah.
Like Shenzhen 30 years ago was just farmland.
Yeah.
So, and now, when you eat food, you don't know where it's coming from. And so I think there was a movement, 10, 15 years ago in North America that people started to say, well, where does the people living in the cities, where does my food come from?
Yeah.
And so they started to adventure, I think these restaurants that became popular at this time were just, doing the same thing,
I already have so many questions following up that. I think I'll try to do 3 questions following this topic. One was the difference between United States, which is, a developed world. People have been through the industrialized process and now try to get back to nature, be more self-conscious and environmental conscious.
Right.
Then how is the trend in China, in your experience? Because, we've gone through a different path, of course.
Yeah.
And the second is, there are so many layers in this concept, right? First is knowing the food, knowing how it's produced. But from that concept to a fine dining restaurant, there are also other things.
Right.
So what are the other things?
That's two questions.
Let's start with the two. Because
Okay.
the third one I actually prepared for later.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first part is, the difference between, I think, China and America. And I think, like you said, that, there's these restaurants already in China. And I think, China's gone through this very rapid industrialization.
Yeah.
And now I find a lot of culture in China is kind of, it's not copying, it's like branding means to a lot of people in China.
Yeah.
And so when something becomes cool in America, like farm to table.
Like, I was thinking about Applebee's Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, I mean, there's, or Gucci, or, there's a variety of brand. But I mean, the concept of, let's say like social media in America, Instagram is used a lot, right? So, people go to,
avocado toast.
Yeah, avocado toast, taking picture of their food, going to the farm, showing like farm day, hashtag, all of these things. Then the same kind of things are mimicked here in China. But when I try to experience these things, that experience is very curated, meaning that it becomes a tourist kind of trap. It's like not a trap, it's just they've calculated every aspect of it. So, you get on a bus, you go to a campsite, and everything, there's like a picture spot, the tents are all perfect, there's heaters in the thing. It's like very curated experience. And this, this extends to, I think, like picturesque farms, so if, for example, like the sunflower chicken, I don't know if you know this, sunflower chicken is, I know now it's like it's not, they don't even do it anymore, but, 5 years ago, he started feeding his chicken sunflowers, and it's super delicious, became super popular, and then, Jiranji, starts running sunflower chicken, the price goes way up because the farmer can charge that, and then he starts, people can go there, and then it's a sunflower fields, and there's special paths, and he serves the sunflower chicken, and he's making lots and lots of money off this process. It's no longer about, let's feed the chicken or let's do something different with food. It's become a tourist money-making endeavor.
I follow Dan Barber's Instagram a lot.
Yes.
He does a lot of this processing, experimenting, but he doesn't turn that into a touristy activity.
Yeah. But I mean, even like Blue Hill is successful, and it is a visitor center, and you go there and you see all of the farming and all the stuff. I haven't been to Blue Hill in a very long time, but when I was looking for a job in America, I had two places in mind, Meadowood and Blue Hill, and I went to visit both of them, and because I had come from this farm in Canada, I like where, and so like I ended up not choosing Blue Hill. I didn't choose Blue Hill because I did feel that they had curated the experience for their diners, like almost like they're trying too hard. And I know it's one of your favorite restaurants.
I do agree with the curation part. Like the way I describe my experience at Blue Hill is almost like a theater. It's not only about food, it's also about the presentation, the whole behind the thing. So they take you to different, this is our grill, this is how we make the bread.
This is our compost, look how,
it's a lot
things
of
in the compost.
Presentation, but I do think it's, like, I enjoy the education because I'm not used to the whole concept. And a lot of presentation over there is the first thing I ever get educated on this concept, and I became more environmental conscious after the dinner, so I welcome that.
And I think they're doing, and because of that reason, it's amazing, right? Because it's the person that doesn't know becomes educated, and then they know. And I think, of course, you need this because we need to teach more people. But from a personal experience, when I had already known. And I already had a lot of experience in these things. I felt like it was a little bit fake. It wasn't authentic in its
not
deliverance.
99% attention on food, and the rest of the stuff come naturally. It's more, let's center our food around the presentation.
Right, the presentation of these sustainable concepts. And like I said, it's all very important.
That's the other thing I noticed in your dishes. I feel like you were almost holding back.
Of course.
Yeah, you are holding back.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Like this isn't me. You know, like I said, I'm the guy who will be in the garden first, and who will be trying to, like tasting things in the garden. And you notice that nothing is predictable in nature. Nothing is consistent. You might have an amazing carrot one year and not the amazing carrot the next year. And the weather is always changing. Things are always contributing this. If you can have a restaurant, like my dream restaurant is a restaurant that can change and adapt to nature at any given moment, so that you're always getting very interesting, amazing products.
Yeah.
It's a dream. It's not necessarily reality,
That's, so my three restaurant, the third one is Central.
Yeah.
And when I described to AD, I told him the food is almost unpleasant.
Right.
Because the flavor is so raw and natural, but I still like the experience because it gives you the experience of nature in its most natural form. Yeah.
Did you have a vegetarian or?
No.
Okay. I haven't been to Central, but he came to do a dinner at Meadowood when I was working there. And I mean, sometimes it's hard to transplant a place like that out of the country and into.
It's impossible.
So like his food was very colorful and I mean it was beautiful, but obviously you need to be in that place, that sense of place to get the experience.
Only recently I started to appreciate the natural flavor of food. Before I was like, this is good, this one tastes good, that one tastes bad. Yeah. But now it's more like this one tastes natural and that one tastes artificial.
Right. I think, that's, as chefs develop, they always, they start off, they always want to add so many things. Yeah. And by the end of their career, it's very simple and natural process.
But you are very young.
Yeah. I got a lucky early education. Like I said, when you're immersed in the food as it's growing and you're tasting the first buds of a flower, the final flower, the fruit of the flower, the branches of the tree. You can taste one plant, one product in many different stages through its life cycle in nature. And then each one of those can, add a different flavor. Is it sweet, bitter,
But as
herbaceous.
People get more disconnected from nature as a natural tendency, right? More and more people living in the city, and even if they want to get close to the nature, they have to visit a touristy farm, and there's no way of them knowing then how frustrating it is to try to present the natural flavor to people, because many people may not. They have their own standard, which is trained in this brandy industrial process. Then they don't actually appreciate what you try to do.
Yeah, I mean, here I can't even do it to the full extent. I can do just a small bit of what I know and how I was trained and grew up in the industry. But I try to, I have to balance it here. Like you said, I was holding back. We have guests that have the expectation as a Western restaurant that they should be getting luxury Western imported products. And when we deliver Chinese products, some of our clients are, displeased. This was more so at the beginning, and I've noticed that they're more accepting now, especially with the pandemic, borders being closed. I think more people are looking in and actually accept that we're using local ingredients. And I've noticed the shift in our guests here at the restaurant. At first there was a lot of complaints about why.
Is it about? Do you feel it's the same group of people changing their minds, or different group of people?
Maybe 50-50. Maybe like the people that weren't happy because we didn't have import ingredients didn't come back, but the ones that did come back have now accepted us.
I found this to be very. That's actually my third question. By the way, my third question is the rare of the the quality of ingredient. What is important? Because in a lot of high-end Chinese restaurants, they stress on the rarity.
Rarity.
The rarity of the ingredient. This is the king crab from Alaska. This is the the fish, the big yellow fish from the Eastern Sea, right?
Right,
And they
right.
charge you a high price, and that's what people in that kind of fine dining expect. But here you stress on, you emphasize on, the source or the story behind the ingredients.
Right. I mean, it's still the same. It's like the yellow croaker from the East China Sea was a fish that was a poor person's fish. But then it got overfished, and then it became so rare that it became a rich person's fish.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of funny that story, you know, had its. But even when they catch it, I know that story because when I ate it, yellow croaker in Jiranzhi, and he said, "This is a wild yellow croaker. Here's the story behind it." I was like, okay, so even a luxury product, whether it is, they're always telling you a story because they're trying to validate the price with the story, and so I need to give the perception of value no matter what.
Yeah.
And it's me balancing so that I'm giving you the perception of value, but also I'm giving you the story of the inspiration because that's where the value comes from. It's like we're trying to change the perception of the Chinese consumer that you have just as many beautiful products in this country.
Of course.
And not everyone agrees with us, and we won't change everyone's mind, but that's our goal, right? And even then, like if I go eat at one of the Japanese restaurants here, it's the same thing. They tell me about all of these Japanese products and how expensive they are and rare they are. And I think in America, you wouldn't have that. You wouldn't have that storytelling as it pertains to the value of something. Especially you would never tell the dollar amount. Some of the Japanese restaurants, they're telling me it cost us this much, it cost us this. I'm like, why are you telling me that? Like, it's shocking. But I think for the Chinese consumer, it's important. They need to be able
validate
to validate
the spending.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably sometimes to their guests as well. You know, I treated you.
Right, yeah, exactly.
I think it's also a subtle, I don't know tradition, but concept in our mind that food has magical power, healing power. Like so, for example, if you eat renshen, how do you say renshen? If you eat ginseng, it can heal you from desperate diseases. So we always associate expensive food with this magical power. So if we eat something very expensive, it is super good to our body. Not only the taste, it's also like
But it probably came in the other way around first. Like probably because, China has a strong history, a long history. And then certain foods were known to be of benefit. And then because of that, they had more demand. And because of more demand, then they can increase the price.
Maybe.
And so medicinal products, start to get extremely expensive.
Yeah, I think it's also 50-50, right? Like expensive food is better for our body, but also then you start to believe the goodness you ingest from the food is associated with the price of the food. Yeah, so that's kind of the first question, right? How different it is in United States and here.
Yeah, compromise that I don't like is doing something for the guest to make them happy, that I know
to feed their ego.
To feed their ego. That I think compromises on our philosophy.